In Broncos country, we all hope that Bo Nix is the quarterback in 10 years. But the million-dollar question is, who's the quarterback tomorrow? Who's going to be starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos when the season opens? We get news about that today. We also hear from an unbiased source about the potential of Bo Nix. Can't wait to break that down and a ton more in this video. If you're new to this channel and you love the Denver Broncos as much as I do, it would help me out a ton if you like and subscribe. So let's dive in. So it's easy to dismiss some of the raving about Bo Nix and claim that the people have been saying great things about him. The fact that Sean Payton couldn't hop on the Pat McAfee show. He couldn't even wait for the first round of the draft to end until he FaceTimed him awkwardly and just raved about him and just rattled off all the stats and the things Bo Nix was good at. And you could, in your mind, convince yourself, well, he's got to say that. Bo Nix fell to him. He has to convince himself that he likes him. But we can't really believe just one person's opinion when he has such a prejudice for that opinion being right. He's got his prerogative and his bias, but we're hearing from more and more people who have no reason to say good things about Bo Nix. And I think their opinion, we can weight even higher than the opinion that we're weighting Sean Payton's of. And so the article that I'm reading today that just had me crazy excited is reading Bo Nix's former coach, who I never really liked because I'm a CU fan. And I remember him dogging on Coach Prime, but basically, what we're seeing is Dan Lanning hopped on Colin Cowherd's show and was talking about Bo Nix and just what a good influence he was on the Ducks program in Oregon. And so a couple of the lines in there that just really stuck out to me in his interview was that he's as good of a person on the field as he is off. He's insanely mature. He's married, all of that kind of stuff. We've known that. And we've known mature people who it doesn't translate to skill on the football field. Like Tim Tebow was a good dude, wasn't the best at throwing the rock, even though I got his book over there and I love Tim Tebow. But here's a couple of the lines that made me be like, oh, good dude plus great quarterback. So this thing right here that he said, I felt like we had another coach in the building. What separates Bo from every other quarterback he's ever worked with, including Justin Herbert, is that how much time Bo puts into the work. And he gets specific with it. He said, Bo watches more film than our coaches. There's no one who's going to step on a field and be more prepared than Bo. And that attitude of hey, we're going to grind at this and we're going to figure this out spreads throughout an entire program. We're seeing that already from Sean Payton, who's talking about the youthful energy. And I think a lot of that is coming from Bo Nix. I have zero doubts that Russell Wilson spent a ton of time working. I just think the things that Russell Wilson spent time working on is different than what Bo Nix is spending time working on. That he is, it's I used to be a teacher in my former life. Actually, I still kind of am. But there's this teacher I taught next to who spent hours and hours and hours and hours on bulletin boards in the hallway. And they were the best bulletin boards you've ever seen in your life. But then they'd spend no time on coming up with cool lesson plans to make the kids not riot in her class, and she lost her job. And so, you can work hard, but not work hard at the right things. And I think we're seeing that Bo Nix works hard at the right things. Seeing in another huge thing was that Jordan Palmer just released an amazing video, and I have a couple of my favorite clips in it. And Jordan Palmer's worked with Patrick Mahomes. He's worked, obviously, with his brother Carson Palmer, with Josh Allen, with Deshaun Watson, a lot of really, really good quarterbacks in the league, and comes out and just raves about him. Let's let that breathe a little bit about some of the amazing things he said about Bo Nix right here.
Sorry, I'm not the one who's surprised that we've seen this ascension. I'm a huge fan of Bo Nix. Lead 11, I'm an offensive coordinator on the team. He's my quarterback. Get a chance to see the way that Bo ticks. Get a college football record in completion percentage. Years ago, I was quoted, I said his potential is to be a top pick in the NFL draft. Sorry, I was off by 11 picks. Physically, he's significantly more athletic than you realize. Second or third fastest 10-yard split on the team. It's an SEC school. They got speed. Bo Nix was one of the fastest. 6'2", almost 6'3", 215. Well, he's built the way you want to be built. This is the son of a coach. The trifecta in terms of growing up playing quarterback. He's one of the guys, because of his faith, he doesn't find his identity opinions from other people. He finds it in his faith. And so you kind of become impenetrable to the hatred.
So you're hearing it there. He has the body for it. He has the speed for it. He has all of the intangible or the tangible skills. And then you see his dad being a former quarterback, his dad being a former coach, his dad being a high school coach, the trifecta there that he talks about. And then he dives into just the comparisons between Bo Nix and Drew Brees and how that you're seeing the exact same type of things that Sean Payton wanted in Drew Brees to really being manifested in our quarterback, Bo Nix, the son of a coach. All that is incredible. And right here, that even in his last season with Oregon, knowing that he was destined for higher things going on and playing for the NFL, that he's still on Tuesday and Wednesday spending 12 hours a day in the facility to work with the coaches. And so it's just time and time again, we are hearing people who have no reason to glow and gush about Bo Nix who are doing that, and that should have us crazy, crazy excited, along with this article that comes out right now that is saying that Bo Nix is the favorite to be the starter over Jarrett Stidham and over Zach Wilson for week 1 for the Denver Broncos, heading to a real tough place to play, the Seattle Seahawks, although I'm very confident that we are walking out of that place with a W. It's what Jaleel McLaughlin said in his interview the other day with 104.3 The Fan, that we're shocking people, and that is starting week 1 because our team has that culture that we believe in each other, and that should have us excited. And then last little piece here, another person who has been quick to throw quarterbacks under the bus for the Denver Broncos, also protecting quarterbacks and making sure they win the Super Bowl, in Mark Schlereth, who I love, who was quick to just abandon Russell Wilson and say that was a bad move. And listen to what he has to say about what he thought was the best move of the NFL draft when he hopped on Jim Rome's show.
The best fit in this draft was Bo Nix going to Sean Payton, who, offensively, the guy just understands offense. He understands all the things that you have to be a great offensive, mind and great offensive player and a great offense in general. But he's also a real connective guy. And, when people say, well, he's so arrogant and guy, he ran Russell Wilson off. There's still, 6 guys that played for him in New Orleans that decided to sign in Denver. So that would tell me if I didn't like him and if I thought he was a turd and I thought he was that kind of guy, then you're not signing to go play for him as a backup. And he's got 6 or 7 guys that formerly he coached in New Orleans that are playing in Denver right now.
So it's 6 or 7 guys who are playing here, but we're talking over 20 people when you look at former coaches who had roles, former scouts who had roles at their other team. It wasn't like they lost their job and came here. And so that last point he makes there about Sean Payton is so spot on. And if anything, Mark Schlereth probably has a reason to maybe be down on Sean Payton. There were rumors going into it before Sean hired Zach Strief as the offensive line coach. Schlereth's name was floated in there as potentially being the guy, and on the radio, his co-host Mike Evans was touting him and saying hey, you might go coach for him. And I think he thought that was a big possibility. And so you could see Mark Schlereth really not wanting to give Sean Payton his flowers, but I think him right there saying the best fit here is Bo Nix. Hearing Jordan Palmer say it, hearing just his former coach glow and gush about him, I think there's just a lot of reason to believe in Bo Nix. Now, my big question for all y'all in the comments is, who do you think is our starter on week 1? And would you prefer Bo Nix start from the jump, even if that reduces our shot at the playoffs? I think that Bo Nix is our long-term plan without a doubt. But I think if you were to say who has the best chance to win week 1, I think you would probably say Jarrett Stidham. I still want Bo to start from the jump, but I think if you said who gives you a best shot to win, a veteran who's played in a bunch of systems, who's in his second year of Sean Payton's system, it just makes more sense that Jarrett Stidham probably has a better win chance against the Seattle Seahawks than Bo Nix does. But I still want Bo to be the starter. Very curious what y'all think about that. Would you prefer Bo starting from the jump and missing the playoffs, or Jarrett Stidham starting our first 2, 3, 4 games and we make the playoffs, and then Bo kind of ends our season out? But very curious what all y'all think. It's going to be incredible. Training camp, it's coming fast, and we got high hopes and a lot to believe in. I'm starting to not believe in my jumper anymore.